Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Welcome back to the Once an Orphan podcast. I'm Jasmine. If you're new here, you may not know that this is a storytelling platform. If you are not, you know that we're telling our stories, good, bad, or indifferent. All of us have a story, and a lot of times we don't walk into our full healing because we keep it all to ourselves and we don't talk about our stories. If you're not new here, you would have seen that my last interview was with Mr. Preston K. Davis, one of Jeffrey Dahmer's surviving victims. He mentioned Mr. Billy Capshaw, who is joining me today, and I'm so thankful for his time and his presence. We should know that there were some men who actually survived Jeffrey Dahmer. Mr. Preston K. Davis was one. His good and longtime friend now, Mr. Billy Capshaw, is another. And so I just want to say thank you, Mr. Capshaw, for joining me. And as we were just talking, I wanted to hit record so that we don't miss
Yes,
anything.
ma'am.
But let's just start off, Mr. Capshaw, with telling us how you met Jeff Dahmer.
Well, the first day I got to Germany, it was it was a kind of rainy day. It was in February, and it was drizzling outside. And I don't remember exactly the date I got to uh, uh, Germany, what day it was in February. It was like around the 18th, 19th, something like that, of February. And I arrived at post headquarters, and that's where they bus you to this post headquarters place so you can be shipped to your unit, you know. Uh, so I'm waiting for one of the uh, people from my unit, 268 Armor Headquarters Division, to arrive to pick me up. So I see this guy bouncing down the street, kind of a jolly guy, heavy set, not supposed to be like that in the military, but he was heavy set guy. And then anyway, he says, Private Capshaw. I said, that'd be me. And he said, come with me. So I grabbed my gear, all my stuff, and we start walking up to the barracks. And I get there, and he shows me into the barracks, and he says, this is going to be your room. And he says, I think we've got the perfect roommate for you. He said, he's a good dude. He's a great guy, and all this kind of stuff. Uh, I said, okay, no problem. He said, you're going to love him, man. He likes to tell jokes and he's a clown and all this kind of stuff. I said, okay. So the same guy, this jolly guy, who's always laughing, and all that kind of stuff. Uh, he he says, come with me. So we get in this car and we drive probably about maybe a mile on base or something. And he introduces me to Jeffrey Dahmer. And when he says, man, you guys are going to get along great. He said, Jeffrey, he called him Private Dahmer. And he said, Private Dahmer, you guys are roommates now. And I said, well, okay. So we went back to the barracks. I think we went to eat something, and anyway, to make a long story short, that first, and I have trouble remembering if it was the first or second night sometimes. I believe it's probably the second or the first. But that first night is when all that started. The attacks, the torture, the whole nine yards. I know for sure it had to be uh, the second day I was violently raped by Jeffrey and tied up and beat. And I want to say that I was all bruised up, and one of the uh, and I cannot remember if I jumped out the window the first or the second day, but that's where I'm going. I get confused about that. I don't remember if it was the first or second day, but I jumped out a window and fractured my pelvis and messed up my left hip. And a lot of people on the internet want to say it was a third story window. It was not. There was a basement. It was a first story window, but there was a basement underneath, so it made it 2 stories. And I jumped out that window and landed. Uh, and that's the last thing I remember until I was at the hospital, uh, uh, 56 General Hospital. And they shipped me from there. I was telling them what happened. They shipped me from there to Landstuhl, and from Landstuhl back after I got better back to my unit. I was still on convalescence, when I got put back in the room with him. And I knew from my 6 months prior to that in the military that you didn't talk about rape. And I'm pretty sure I'd said something. So they knew. And uh they started not paying attention, because I was barely 17 years old. And I leave that out, but I wasn't even, I think, 6 months into 17. And I was very scared. And he had beat me with this that same night that I jumped out the window. He first beat me with like a metal bar thing. It's called the bunk adapter, and he beat my bones and my elbows and my knees, and 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 raped me. And I got loose, uh, and jumped out the window like anybody would. Now I know now, after being in the room for a long time, at that point, I'm put back in the room, and I know now what kind of drugs I was given. I was given Ativan and ketamine, and he had all those drugs. I'm gonna slow down for a minute so I don't try to skip anything. But after I'd been in there and I was trying to heal, he wasn't terrible to me. He brought me food. Uh, this and that, asked me questions about if I told anybody this or that. And it was probably about a week or two after I'd been in the hospital for a little while. I don't even know how many days I was in the hospital. He, he was fairly nice, and I was new to the unit when that happened. And I didn't know what to do. Didn't know what to do. And he he just takes me over completely. And I was basically stuck for 18 months like this. And he would beat me and then rape me, or beat me after I was raped. He gave me the drugs. I was just a zombie, basically walking around. And it's hard for me to explain the time frames, because I guess the drugs maybe, but I try to do the best I can. But
Yeah.
uh, I was treated worse than you would treat a dog. No one should have to do that. No one should have to live through that stuff. And I uh, I managed to get through with it. But in the meantime, there was so much going on that even the people who were supposed to be there to protect me, they were not present. They were never present. They let Jeffrey Dahmer run that base, almost.
And who were those people, Mr. Capshaw, that should have been
It
protecting you?
was a couple of sergeants that I think, I never got to meet now Preston told me who the sergeant was, and he actually called him. And did you know the sergeant, when I was there, didn't even know who I was? Preston said, "Man, he don't even know you, you know." And I said, "Well, he probably don't know me because I don't know him. I've never met him. The other sergeants that I met were young guys, and the way they explain it is that they uh, they were only 19. This other guy that was a sergeant, he was 19, so that was okay for him to miss this. The other sergeant was about 24, so he's a drunk. So that was in gay. You could not be gay in the military, by the way. And and they made
Not at that
I
time.
had two problems going on at the same time. I had the military problem. I'm gonna move back a little bit. I had the military problem of not trying not to uh, probably, in my mind back then, I'm not a gay man. I'm a heterosexual male. So
Right.
Dahmer, from my understanding, was a gay man. So he it was bad. They messed with me, and I had begged and begged them to do something to help me, and not one soul except later on I'll tell you somebody finally helped me. Uh,
Mm. This lasted 18
18
months.
months. Yeah. My mother,
Disgusting.
my father, I have five sisters, or did, and a couple of them have passed, but uh, I've still got three. And those five sisters were looking for me. My mother was looking for me. My father was looking for me. And they went through hell. Preston Davis has a copy of the videotapes my doctor had my family do. You know, uh, he he uh, he wanted to get it on video, and for whatever it's called, as a testimony or whatever what they went through, and uh, he wanted to record it, and he paid to have some film crew, or this guy actually, uh, videotape uh, some of my sisters and my mother talking about that time, and they said that they called the unit in this video. My mother's dead, a couple of my sisters are dead. They said that in this video, they said uh, they told us all kinds of stuff. They were talking to the guy that was interviewing them, and they said that I either left the base and I was AWOL, or they told her one time that I went out and was in another country. They told them every kind of lie you can think of.
And all the time you were
All the
there,
time I was in that room.
just locked
Yeah,
in there because Dama wouldn't let you
that's
out.
right. Not very often. He did, but not very often. But what are you going to do? Here I am, 17 years old, in the military, and in a different country. So I had a plan to leave Germany, and I left. I stole his money. First of all, I stole Jeffrey's money thinking he wasn't going to drink anymore. That didn't work. He had a bank account, apparently. Uh,
Wow.
I stole his money and got me a hotel off base. And I stayed there one night trying to figure out how to get home. And there was no damn way I could get home. No way. And as an American, you know, if I could have spoke German, I would have started just speaking German right then. But there's
Of
no way
course.
I could get a passport. No way, no money, no clothing. He took all my clothes, Jeffrey did. He took everything from me. I don't know if you've seen the picture of me in the orange robe with Jeffrey behind me. You
Mm,
hadn't seen that one?
no.
Preston's got the photo.
Okay.
Uh, and anyway, I was totally uh, controlled by Jeff the whole time. And he also controlled my pay. I didn't get no money. And I know why now, because the guy that was in charge of uh, the paychecks, and they call them like secretaries in the military. It's like some kind of it's a MOS, but anyway, he was gay too. So what a perfect setting. Jeff had
Yeah.
had it all set up to do this, I guess. And
Right.
he was getting my money, getting my mail from all my family, and I was not, he told me I was not allowed to ride home. Matter of fact, I have a broken finger from it. And uh it's just, and it's all in my medical records. Most of the stuff I'm telling you is in my medical. I For a 17-year-old guy, every reporter I show my records to, how can you have so many records when you're this old? I even had a heart problem. I had a heart problem.
Wow.
I had, I think that I only went, he would only take me to the emergency room, or I even have a record of when he examined me. You talking about, this guy was controlling everything, and his signature's on there in my medical records. So he had that full control of anything he wanted to do to me. It was like I was human trafficked, some part of the human trafficking type thing. And
Yeah.
it felt like that. And that's why I like
Mhm.
to help people who have been human trafficked.
Oh my
I'm an
God.
advocate for people, you know, who have been human
Of
trafficked.
course.
But uh, I just want to say that if you're ever in this situation, uh, you need to speak, and speak loud. Try to get out of it. And I was stuck. I get it. Sometimes you can't. And I had planned to kill him. That was my next thing. And I thought, well, I'm going to kill him. That's what I was thinking. I had plenty of time to think. And I said, well, I could kill him with that. I thought in my head, I said, I can kill him with the bunk adapter. And that was what I was going to do at first. And I said, no, I'd have to hit him too many times. So it would probably be better some other way. And I was trying to figure out how to kill him, but I never could do it. I couldn't do it. I could not
You know,
do it. And it comes,
Mr. Caps,
yeah, yes, ma'am.
no, oh, no, I'm sorry. When I spoke to Mr. Davis, he stated, I misquoted actually. And because I thought it was he who said he thought about killing Jeffrey Dahmer,
Hmm.
and then killing himself. But was that you who said that?
Yes, I said it and I meant it. Um, I couldn't do it. I could not do it for the sake of me. I
He he
go ahead.
he took away your innocence, your manhood, your dignity. He
He
beat you
he
emotionally,
stabbed me. He
physically.
stabbed me in the private areas, and done some things to me that I don't know if people and the funny part about that, I want to explain to people, I did not come forward on my own. I didn't. The press found me. 1991. I didn't tell anybody any of this until after 91. Who can tell somebody that? But I just
Right.
want to tell your viewers, the people that watch this, talk makes it better.
Yeah.
Talk to people,
Yes.
find help, and if it's not the right person or people that will stand up for you, and basically get in people's faces and say, "Hey, we got to help this person," or whatever. Find somebody else.
Right.
Find somebody else.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of people out there that want to destroy you if you tell them this stuff, and I don't get that reasoning at all. You
Right.
get re-traumatized, re-victimized, and it's just pathetic. They will turn this around in their head. And people, stop doing that crap. I just want to
Yeah.
tell everybody, don't do that. Don't use
Yeah.
someone's weakness when you're angry against them. You
Right.
do that makes you look weak, makes you look stupid,
Absolutely.
immature, and ungodly. And God will,
All of
and
it.
I'm going to tell you something. God will get you. All the people that have done that to just me and Preston, he
Yeah.
will. He's got you on his radar. But,
Absolutely.
I have been mistreated since I was left home. And
Mm.
the way they sent me back home to my mother is shameful. And I was a soldier. I'm still a soldier, and I will always be a soldier. It don't matter how you get injured, but I got injured in the line of duty, just like anybody else would get injured. Had Jeff not been so clever with some people, I think a lot of people didn't like him, but with some people, it was a thing that was so sickening. It will make you throw up every single day if you have to live like that. Live with that in your mind and your conscience. And there ain't no way that I would put this on anybody. But the people in this country will re
Yeah.
victimize you over and over and over and stomp you down. But you got to be stronger than they are because they're weak.
And you know what makes it even worse, Mr. Capshaw, is that not only will they do it, but they'll feel good about it. They will actually feel good about
Yes,
the harm they're
right.
causing you. There's no remorse. There's no
No,
feeling of
not,
guilt
and
at
you
all
know what?
whatsoever.
No remorse means you're a sociopath. No remorse means you're a psychopath. And if you're like that, if you take pride in hurting other people, hey man, you need to be in jail or something,
Yeah.
or whatever
Mm.
the other consequence may be. And I think
Absolutely.
that these people, and my mother used to tell me something, she didn't always agree with the death penalty back in the day, but I know why now. Because she knew there were innocent people out there that
Yeah.
just got caught up in some kind of crap like this, and all of a sudden they turned the switch. I got a son that killed himself, okay, from all the harassment that people done to him. So thanks, folks, if you're listening. Thanks. Thanks for the loss of my wife and son. My family, thank you. May this never happen to you.
You
And
you've gone through.
I've gone through hell. I know what it's
Yeah.
like.
Yeah.
And
And you leave
it
home
still happens all the time.
every
Every
day.
single
Every
day
day.
of my life.
Every day.
And I ain't
Yeah.
giving an inch. If they want to
Yeah.
mistreat me, they're going to have to kill me. That's all I know. And I don't mean because I did something wrong either.
The thing that puzzles me, Mr. Capshaw, is to know that you leave home at 17
Right,
years old to do one of the most courageous acts ever and join the military to protect and serve our
right,
country. For those of us who are too afraid to go out there on front
right.
line, we leave it to you, and I thank you for your service. And then you become a victim of the very
The very
people.
people that I'm taking care of at the time.
Right.
So, it's to me, it's a mob mentality. One guy throws one rock and then they all join in.
Yeah.
It's stupidity. It's the
Yeah. It is.
stupidest thing I've ever seen. To have that kind of
Well,
mentality, I don't care if you've got a doctorate. I've had a doctor
right.
that told me I was a drain on society, told me that. He said, "You're a drain on society. I don't care who you are. I'm not giving you anything for your pain." I was having some problems with pain. And if he had been beat on like I was, he would have those problems too. But he hadn't been. He's supposed to be there to serve me. He gets paid a check. And doctors, you make money off the government. You're here to take care of us. Okay? You're not here to be special or whatever. Now, I think there's some God stuff there too. But
Right.
You're not here to tell people and mistreat people. We need doctors for people like me and people like other
Mhm.
people who are ill or whatever. Don't get caught up in I'm famous if you're a doctor because you're not famous.
Was Jeffrey Dahmer much larger than you in
Yes,
stature?
he was probably about 6'1". I'm 5'10". He's much larger, and I'll tell you something, Jasmine. He was so insane that he could throw me across the room. And at 17 years old, I have to say I was in pretty good shape, or I probably couldn't have got through that. I've been
Right.
told that many times. But yeah, he could throw you. You know, he could. He's just insane, incredible type
Yeah.
strength. Yeah, super,
Psychotic.
super. Yeah, psychotic, in,
Yeah.
insanity. It's all so crazy, and you know, you get these people, and I'm gonna get off this subject in my family that if you got my last name in a small town, come on, come on, that's stupid.
Yeah.
That is stupid, people, and you
Absolutely.
know what I'm talking about.
You
It's
know,
like, damn,
Miss-
I'm going, I can't believe these people really do this. How,
yeah.
and it goes all the way from in churches to hospitals to all these different places, and they'll pick one person out like me that has a weakness, which I think's
Yeah.
not a weakness at all. It's a strength because I'm laughing at them. It gets on my
Hmm.
nerves, to see them act stupid and do things that are incredibly stupid.
They want to normalize this. They act like this is okay, and it's
No,
not.
it's not
And
okay.
and, and so I no, it's not. I'm wondering, Mr. Capshaw, how did it turn out when you finally, after 18 months, they realized you weren't AWOL? When you finally resurfaced, what was the reaction of everyone?
Okay, my whole family, if you were a male, served in World War II. My family fought for this country in World War II on both sides. My mother, I had an uncle in Germany, two or three uncles in Germany and France, an uncle at Pearl Harbor. My dad was in the Navy. I mean, come on, yeah, we're
You come from a lineage of
right.
military men.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's what we do. And it's just it hurts. It hurts for me to have to come home like that, and I couldn't tell anybody that.
Mm.
You're going to tell your uncle that served at Pearl Harbor, or your uncle that walked across two countries, France and Germany, taking care of business so the people could be free about
Yeah.
this kind of stupidity, about these little kids in the 80s.
As I listen to you, I see that you find strength in the words that you speak,
Mhm.
and so I'm thankful to hear that. But I know that it wasn't always like this. I mean, you had to deal with his behavior, and you carried that guilt and that shame on your
Yeah,
own.
I feel
At what
guilty. I
point?
didn't kill him. I've met most of the families of the victims in Milwaukee. Rita Isbell, we were in Milwaukee, Preston and I, and she was hanging out with us. You know, uh, it's, I feel guilty about that.
You felt like you had an opportunity
I would have,
to
if I
cancel
had
him.
have known, Jasmine, that this was going to happen, I would have took him out. But you can't. Hindsight's 2020. I was going to do it anyway, and I'm probably pretty lucky I didn't, because I would be in jail still to this day, or dead.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And they wouldn't look at all the harm that he
No,
caused. They'll just look at the fact that you eliminated him
right,
completely. You would have saved a whole bunch of
right.
lives, but the fact that you took him out, that's all that they would
He
see.
he
It's
he
so
deserved to be
unfortunate.
taken out. He was a mean, ruthless human being that was in. He was not human at all. at all.
So, with you saying that, Mr. Capshaw, if someone asks you, I'm asking
Hmm.
you, how would you describe Jeffrey Dahmer?
Nice guy,
What will be
nice guy, nice guy.
mm,
Very trustworthy, cunning, uh, punctual, and then uh, there's the Mr. Hyde part when he changed.
mm,
Mean, uh, insensitive, insane. He those sides of him, you just had to be there to see it because it's something that happens. Something goes off in him, and it's within a millisecond. I always say that you don't know. And I watched him closely. His body movements, his muscles, his eyes. Yeah.
being that you lived with him,
Hmm.
you saw him
Yeah.
firsthand. You saw him get up in the
Every
morning and
day.
go to bed at night.
Yes.
Yeah. What did you think, Mr. Capshaw, about the Netflix series about him? How much of that was
That's
true in
not, to me,
comparison
it's
to?
none of it true. Netflix called me and I turned them down. I'm not going to lie about anybody. And if they don't want to tell the truth about Jeffrey Dahmer and they want to do the Hollywood version, they can do it with some other victim. And there was money there, believe me. So, I have a little dignity left. I'm not selling nobody out. Not me or none of my people that in my family or none of the people in this country. They can do it somewhere else. But
Mm,
no, it's nothing like
so none of it was
hell
true.
no. And the guy that did that movie, that director, Ryan Murphy, he should be ashamed of
Hmm.
himself. And let me tell you another thing about the Peters guy that played Jeff, whatever his name is, Peters. I'm trying to forget it. I hate it so much. But
We know what you're talking
yeah,
about.
Evan Peters. He
Mhm.
had the audacity to sit there and say he watched Jeff's movements. He only had a little bit to watch. The court, he's going to think that's okay for that. He didn't act like that. He was caught. He didn't act like that. He was being good. Yeah,
So nothing about, because the series portray him as being a very eccentric person, right? But according to you, he was very unassuming. He was a people person. He was very
that's how
personable. He
that's
was all
how
those
that's
things.
that's how that works. And from reading about other serial killers, it seems like Ted Bundy was a pretty normal guy too. Yeah,
Absolutely.
Anne Rule wrote a book. The Stranger Beside Me. They were working at a suicide prevention thing.
Right.
John
Exactly. And he was a
John
handsome
Wayne Wood,
fella.
or
Yeah.
the guy in Chicago, the clown guy, John Wayne
Yeah.
Gacy.
John.
Okay, he's got a
Yeah.
clown
John.
uniform
Yeah.
on. So yeah,
Yeah.
they use a lot of that trickery, but I, I don't know. I'm just baffled by the fact that no one helped me. Now they knew when you, and they knew what was going on, but they didn't want people to know what was going on in that unit. I don't think. People were doing whatever they wanted. I'm going to tell you what I've summed it up to: weak leadership. If you got a weak leader, you're going to people like Jeff can
Yeah.
work.
He's able to go on. He's able to continue his
Right.
behavior. He
He's like,
can,
yeah, exactly.
continue
I'm
to
stuck for
wear
words
this
right now,
facade.
but while he was there was murder. When I first got there, they could have told me this, okay, but they didn't. He was being investigated for a murder of a German national by the name of Hans. They could have told me that. I've got so much stuff in my briefcase on him, paperwork, They were investigating. One of the investigators sent me a a thing over the internet and told me about it. A guy named Hans, and they were also investigating him for murders that happened to four or five women, female prostitutes. And
Yeah, Mr. Davis shared that
yeah,
with
and
me.
they
And
were
so,
they were Ethiopian prostitutes, so they were black. And
wow.
then the murder of a young, beautiful black girl who I have met before. It was on a website with Erica Hansloot. And all of a sudden, when we started bringing it out in the open, it vanished. And there was my nurse found me, who treated me when I was jumped out the window. Linda Sue uh, Swisher is her name. And there was a young black girl that was murdered at 56 General Hospital. She was put in the back of her car, mutilated, and gas poured on her. That's the kind of stuff that used to get covered up. Not so much anymore, because people need to realize that you don't have to be silent when you see something. You're not
Right.
going to get implicated. That's the biggest weakness that people have. They have a fear of talking, a fear of being implicated in something, you know, and
Yeah.
then it destroys
Yeah.
them later on. If you see something,
It
say something.
destroys, and that's the thing. It not only destroys them later on, but it destroys so many
Right? They
people
could have
because
stopped something.
when you have the opportunity to
Yeah.
save so many victims,
Right.
you don't speak up. We still live by this notion that, oh, snitches get stitches, and we're not saving each other. We're not
I tell
saving
you, this
lives.
generation. I'm going to speak to your audience right now. If you're in the generation that is after me, or even I forget, Gen Z or whatever they call these generations of people, some crazy stuff. You're just people. Do the best you can. I'm going to speak to you. If you let something happen, you're as guilty. You're complicit. So,
Absolutely,
if
I
you don't want to
agree.
take my wisdom as being serious, you're a fool. I promise you, you're a
Yeah,
fool. There's
I
nobody
agree.
out there that's going to be there for you because you dodged one. Think about it.
I couldn't agree more, Mr. Capshaw, because I think about the fact that children who are victims of
Hmm.
molestation and
Yeah,
abuse and things like that, and adults who know and don't say anything, you're
they need to go to
protecting.
jail. They need
I
to go
agree.
to jail.
I
If
agree.
I can
I
take
agree.
a
And
butt
so,
kicking, you can go tell the police. You can tell the
yeah,
police. If you don't get
absolutely.
any help there, call the FBI. They'll listen to you.
Yeah,
Call somebody and get those
yeah.
people out of there. There's a lot of stuff going on in Hollywood from people, a lot from New York, a lot of different things happening right now.
A whole
Yeah.
lot.
And
A whole lot.
all it
Yeah,
is just be nice. Just be
yeah.
nice. You know, my mother always told me that. I guess, I used to think everybody had good mama, but no, that's not true.
That's
Not
not
true at
true.
all. Good fathers, no. So I
No,
had to
it's not
redo
true.
that. Just treat everybody like the one you love the most, or whatever you
Right.
love the most, even
Exactly.
if it's a puppy dog. But
Yeah, absolutely.
yeah,
And when we spoke last week, Mr.
mhm.
Capshaw, you stated, like you just mentioned a moment ago, you lost your son due
Yeah,
to suicide. You also lost your
yeah,
wife due to
right.
suicide. And you stated that your son was a victim of
Oh yeah,
harassment.
he's a good
That's what
looking
he was.
dude. Any girl out there would be lucky to have him. He was very, very good looking guy. And, he shot himself in the chest, you know.
These are stories that absolutely saddens me
Hmm.
because why? Why? Why do
Because
these
people can't
things?
shut their mouths. People cannot. empathize with people. People cannot feel when someone's hurting. That's a weakness. That's not a strength.
Right.
Okay, you have to
I
be
agree.
strong to help someone. If you want to be a hero, take somebody down and get them some help. That's the hero.
Right.
You know,
I agree.
that's the hero.
I absolutely
There's a
agree.
lot of people that wouldn't give you a dime, and there's a lot of people that'll help you. You just got to find them because you're going.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people that are mixed up right now, and they don't know which way to go. Maybe if you turn to God, now I'm not going to preach, but if you turn to God and ask
I
Him, but
agree.
hell, I I look online sometimes and it says religion atheist. I'm going, golly, man, what is going on here? Even a serial killer went to church. Jeff Dahmer went to Church of Christ or something like that. Come on, man. It's like,
I do not mean to laugh
that's
at that, Mr.
okay.
Capshaw. I'm stuck on the fact that being an atheist is considered a religion because isn't this the group of people that don't believe no spiritual being
Oh,
exists?
I'll tell you a story. I used to be a paramedic, right? So I picked
Mhm.
this guy up in a car accident, and he had a broken leg and this and that, some bruises and cuts. And he was praying. And when we got to the hospital, the medics we get this is in civilian life, we get a piece of paper called a face sheet, and it gives your religion, your phone numbers, your insurance, right? It said atheist. I looked at that, I went back and I said, sir, I just got to know, is this the right religion? And he goes, don't worry about it. Started telling me off. I said, I thought you was praying in the back of the ambulance, man. I didn't know. I had to know if he really was doing that, or is it my imagination?
Yeah.
I don't think half of them know what they're doing, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Uh,
It's just something that they
yeah.
call themselves, maybe. I don't know.
Hmm. But
It's that is some sick business. But like you said, we won't even talk about religion
yeah, you
because
can't. Yeah.
that can be so controversial. You can't say Christ, you can't say Jesus.
Hmm.
Everyone gets their panties in the bunch. You can't say a lot, whatever.
But
It's just so unfortunate that you went through all of that to when I just hear you say that you worked as a
I did
paramedic,
for a
you
while. Yeah.
served the country, and then you still went on to continue to
Yeah.
serve
Because
people.
I don't quit. I got to get back. But I'm getting so old now, I don't work.
No, no.
But
But you continue to serve
I do,
people. You didn't.
and I'm going to tell you, Jasmine, I will never ever lose my voice again. If you tell me to shut up, I'm going to speak louder and talk over you because I'm just not doing that again. Just real
Yeah.
simple. Once was enough. I lost my voice when I was 17 till 19. Begged for help, it didn't work until after 18 months, and then I'll tell you how I got out of that. It's real easy. I was sent to the field. I had my combat gear. It's the only thing Jeffrey did not take away from me, clothing wise, was combat gear. So I go in and I promise this man I'd never say his name, but he has a family. Um, he knocks on the door, opens the door, and said, Capshaw, get your gear. We're going to the field. I got my gear. We went to the field. He gave me his food for about 3 or 4 days. I got the paper, and he was good to me. He let me eat his part of his rations because I was almost starved to death. And I just want to say thank you to him again, if you hear this.
So during the 18 months when this maniac had you
Hmm.
captured and isolated,
Hmm.
you weren't being fed.
No,
He wasn't bringing
not
you any
not right.
food.
I'd lost uh, a lot of weight. I forget what I weighed. I weighed like one, like normally I'm like 100 and I think when I got to Germany I weighed like 190. I was muscled up a little bit. When I left Germany I was like 150, so 40 pounds.
Yeah, that's a difference of 40
Yes,
pounds.
and I have anyway. This man that gave me his food, that we can call him a real man, had begged them. He said to me that I was too young to be there in that situation, and he said, "I'm sorry." And when I got back to the barracks, Jeffrey Dahmer was gone.
Wow.
That started as easy as it finished. Now tell me, is that not mind-boggling?
That
And
completely.
then I was
And
sent home.
so you never got an apology from your officials, your superior, but you
I had to
got
know who
an
they
apology.
are. I'd like to know. Preston found
I
one of
mean, even still to this day, no
them. No,
apology.
no, mm-mm, no.
You know, the most frightening thing about that, Mr. Capshaw, is the fact that we still have Jeffrey Dahmers walking the earth
Yeah,
today, and no one
that's
knows.
right.
No one
Yeah.
knows. Like you said, no one would know. Very
Mm-hmm.
charming, very easy to get
Right.
along with. No one
No one
knows.
knows. And that Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde thing. So what is that? What does that even mean? Be careful. Don't get in the car with strangers. Like Dr. Phil said when he said that, I almost chuckled. I even cried on that show, I think. But
Yeah,
it was don't get in cars. Don't go places with people you don't know.
yeah,
Stay around your friends. If they're your friends, they could be your enemies. There may
exactly.
be,
Agreed.
you never know what's going to happen. You have got to pre plan when you go out and stuff like that. Even men have to
Yeah.
do that and go prepared.
Absolutely. I mean, we see in cases like you and Mr.
Hmm.
Davis that men aren't even always
No,
protected. I mean, we expect you to be the ones to
right,
protect, but more times than not, you can also be
right.
victimized, and people won't see that side
Hmm.
of you because simply because you are a
They
man.
get they
Let,
incapacitated. Preston.
yeah,
He was given drugs. I don't know if he told you.
he did.
Uh, and he had a lot of injuries from that. And same with me.
Yeah, Mr. Davis expressed that
He he's having a
being vic-
mo- he's just having a.
being victim being victimized by Jeffrey Dahmer affected his
Hmm.
marriage so much to the point where he hadn't had sex with his wife in over
That's
7
right.
years.
I
Um,
know, Glenn.
was did that have when your wife took her life? Was that
No, I tell you
did
what. As
nothing
I
to do
told
with?
Preston, it was the opposite every day. She was after she found out about that. Uh, it was like she changed. So it goes both ways. From I asked my doctor about it. Like the partner will try to uh, uh, sometimes what happens, I think, with the way we are, the way we uh, communicate or whatever, if she tells somebody in her family and they'll say, "Oh, this dude's gay," you know, and she's trying to heal me from being gay or trying to give me, I don't know what that was. So I've told Preston, many times my life was the opposite. So, it goes both ways.
It
Yeah.
does. It does.
It's like she had to do
And
that
so
just to make me feel like a man. That's not what she had to do at all.
did she battle mental health
Yes,
issues?
she had, from this, she had gotten very sick. Yes. This is a problem that like I said, I didn't come right out and say it. The media busted me out. But, yeah, she battled with some mental health stuff. Depression would be the main one. And she was a nurse, you know, and I had first met her when she was 16. So I was too old for her at the time. Yeah,
What was the age gap between you
6
two?
years.
6 years.
Yeah,
Okay, yeah.
her
It,
picture of her and my son's on my Instagram.
oh,
Yeah,
okay. Okay. I'll have to find that.
she had some beautiful teeth. She never had a cavity,
Mm,
and and she had curly hair like all women want. I loved her
yeah.
hair. But yeah, yeah, she's gone now, and my son's gone. It's been a ride. I could go on and on though.
You, yeah. So let me see. You leave the house at 17 years
Mhm.
old. Mom and dad, I'm off to serve the country.
Mhm.
Immediately, you become a victim of Jeffrey
Right.
Dahmer. You are in
Mhm.
isolation under his authority for 18 months. You are beaten, raped, drugged,
Yeah.
starved, abused, all of those
Mhm.
things. You finally come out, and everyone knows that Mr. Capshaw, Billy's
Right.
alive. So now you go on, you still go through life. You manage to get
Mhm.
married and have children.
Yeah.
You lose a child, you lose your wife
Yes,
to suicide, and you are still here to tell your story despite the physical abuse you've suffered, the emotional abuse you've suffered, all of those things. And people don't believe in God.
that's right. And guess what? The best revenge, that I used to think it was living well. The best revenge is helping someone. The best revenge is making a difference. You
Yeah.
don't got to punish people. You don't. Not unless they do something terrible to get punished. But I mean, in general, a victim for sure. You know,
Yeah.
that's Preston and I. We take care of the victims, and that's what
Yeah.
we do. That's who we are. That's what we do, and wouldn't have it any other way. So stay out of our way. If you don't believe what
Mr.
we're doing,
Yeah.
I don't know
And I agree
anybody
with
that
you.
believes rape's okay. Maybe some
Except for
people,
those who are
yeah,
raping.
except the guys down at the pea farm. But you know,
Yeah.
it's just you know.
It's sickening. And I think another reason why I like to bring light to these stories is because we really do need to pay more attention
Hmm.
to mental health.
Yeah,
Because we don't know what that looks like. We don't know what depression looks like. We don't know what schizophrenia
right.
looks like. We don't know these things. The only thing you see is, oh, Jasmine is
Hmm.
cool, Billy's cool, and you don't know behind Jasmine's. What you
Right.
see can be a completely different side.
Exactly.
We have to start paying attention to this. We
You
have to start talking more about mental health
you
because
cannot
it's the one thing.
you cannot pass judgment, Jasmine, on someone you just meet.
Oh,
You
absolutely
have
not.
to talk to them. You
Agreed.
have to get to know them.
I agree.
You know.
100%.
Uh,
Yeah. Mr. Capshaw, before I let you go,
okay.
I have to ask, um, and I can't say I understand, but when you say you thought about killing Jeffrey
Right.
Dahmer, it will make sense. I'll just say that. I don't want to say I understand because I didn't go through what you went through. But following that, why would you have considered taking your own life?
I tried it 3 times. I tried to yeah try attempted 3 times. 1981, 1986, and one the first time was my mom's meds. I overdosed. Uh, second time was I got a car for the first time and I ran it into another car thinking I was going to kill myself. And oh, I take that back. The first time was a gun. Okay. I was in the military at the time and I grabbed a sergeant's gun off his side. Uh, I can say his name. His name was Sergeant Michael Lathrop. He's dead now. I grabbed his weapon and he covered my butt. And I pulled the trigger to my head. You know, I didn't even get in trouble. At least I don't know about it if I did. Second time was overdose. Third time was car wreck. Yeah, I was going to take myself out. Of course, we have weapons in the military. But this one,
Right.
yeah, this one was
You just couldn't live with the fact of knowing that this man did this to you.
right. I just wanted to be out of pain, mental and physical
Yeah.
pain. Yeah.
And if you were able to have last words with Jeffrey Dahmer, what would you have said to him?
Bang, bang, boom, boom. Boom, boom, bang, bang. There wouldn't be no talk.
This is why we have these candid
Hmm.
conversations. And Mr. Capshaw, I'm so forever grateful. I say this every time I speak to someone. These moments are not taken for granted. Your time is not
Well,
taken for
I got
granted.
one other thing to
Mm.
say. Unless you
Sure.
listen, you will not hear anything, and that means comprehend anything. Trust me, people don't waste their words on you for long. That's for the folks out there.
Yeah, I agree 100%. And oh my God, I thank you for
Yes,
your
ma'am.
time. You are amazing. I'm so thankful
Yeah,
that you
I need to
actually
get
did
Preston's
survive
cut and
that.
gear, and I want to go to Myrtle Beach. Yeah, yeah,
You two owe it to yourselves to take that
yeah.
ride and
Yeah.
have that
Hey,
vacation.
he's one driving dude. He can drive. Hours,
Yeah, yeah, he doesn't know.
hours,
He
and
should,
hours.
yeah. He came from Connecticut all the way to Arkansas. So,
About
right?
four
Is
times or more. We've been, like I said, we flew sometimes, but we've been on car
yeah.
in a car both sides of the country. We drove a lot of that way. Yeah.
See, now he just puts me to shame because he's like a decade plus my senior, and I'm like, I hate driving to the grocery store 4 minutes away. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
uh, Mr. Capshaw, I'm glad you're
And
alive. I'm glad what Jeffrey Dahmer's attempts was didn't work. I'm glad that your attempts didn't work. These are moments that we have to talk about. And while he's dead, we can't let your stories die.
no,
So
I'm
I'm grateful and
continuing on
appreciative
my
of what
mission,
you
and our mission is to help people and share our story so we get a little insight and we educate people, about stuff like this. And that's what we're going to do.
I appreciate you. I appreciate you
Yes,
much.
ma'am.